University may have made it the hard way to the grand final, but there's plenty of money around to put them in as favourites. Last week against Singleton, the students put in an awesome second half. After trailing 10-6 at the break, surged forward to lay the groundwork for a brilliant 32-10 win. But it's a margin that could have been much bigger. Goal-kicking winger Damien Brown must have forgotten his comfortable boots because he missed 18 points. It's hoped that he'll rectify that by this weekend. Wanderers have a backline though that's near impossible to stop once it gets moving. Wanderers will also have a psychological advantage because they defeated Uni 14-11 last time they met. The two haven't come up against each other in a grand final since 1966, and that time Uni won. We won't know until 20-5 tomorrow afternoon if history repeats itself. Darren Curtis, NBN News.
Students at Glendale Technology High near Newcastle may become the trailblazers for dramatic change. The school is considering adjusting its timetable.
Well, the plan is to start the senior school early of a morning and consequently they go home earlier, and the junior school to start later, which means they will be home later.
To succeed, the school's 930 students, parents and teachers must all support the plan, designed to make better use of stretched resources.
It will mean that the students will be able to have all of their computer lessons in a computer room, have all of their science lessons in a science laboratory. So we're just trying to make better use of the rooms that we have.
Adjustments to timetables are just the start of major changes in our schools, encouraged by the Education Department's directions policy. Introduced this year, the policy outlines various pathways for change in all areas of education.
I think we now know more about how students learn, therefore we're changing our teaching styles. And for some teachers, yes, it's been an awakening, if you like, a realisation.
Computer-managed lessons, older age students, accelerated learning and part-time studies are already operating. The department says industry and social demands are forcing schools to provide greater flexibility and change with the times.
I think schools will be in that same mould. They've got to keep pace with it, or their clients will realise that perhaps what they're offering isn't as relevant as it ought to be.
Melinda Smith, NBN News.
Stevenson was putting his bulk to work today at a Newcastle car yard. The plan is to utilise that 107 kilos and nearly 2 metres of height on the rugby league field.
The Knights are willing to take a chance with me, with my size and speed, if I can pick up the game, I could be an asset to them.
The sprinter who came second in the Australian 100 metres last year says he won't take any backward steps playing for the Knights.
Obviously I'll be a marked man, a bit of publicity. And people say, well, we'll get this bloke, so...
That doesn't worry you?
No, let him try.
The 21-year-old has never played league before. He played Second Division Union last year. He signed a 2-year incentive-based contract with the Knights. Like Darren Clark, he'll probably play on the wing. Chad says he hopes to be more successful than Clark. For one thing, he's about 30 kilos heavier. Peter Ryan, NBN News.
Only a minute and a half in and the Knights' intentions were made perfectly clear. Damien Driscoll repeated the performance a few minutes later and the Knights were on a roll. Canterbury were looking shattered and Tony Kemp rubbed it in with the first of his 3 tries. They went to the break with the Knights leading 19-4 on the scoreboard and well ahead in the punch-up. Canterbury returned with a new lease of life and managed to get within 7 points of Newcastle and looked very threatening. The Knights were throwing everything into protecting their line, but Ewan McGrady still managed to slip through. But showing experience beyond their years, the young Knights didn't panic, they merely stepped up a gear. Newcastle will now play Norths in next Sunday's grand final, to be shown live on NBN. Highfields were the hot favourites going into today's game, and they only took 3 minutes to show why. The enthusiastic crowd was treated to a brilliant display of attack and defence. Highfields goalkeeper John Russell was forced to earn his money, but appeared to revel in the pressure. Azuri made every opportunity count, and in the 61st minute pushed further ahead. Lake Macquarie became frustrated and had 2 players sent from the field in the second half, and with their numbers down, City just couldn't stem the flow.
Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Ian Armstrong introduced a plan to transfer the 2 offices to a central office at Gosford and replace them with a mobile task force. The proposal sparked harsh criticism from coast fishermen and member for the entrance Grant McBride, who said fish stocks would be threatened with only occasional regulation on catch limits and fish sizes.
We need that person here, particularly during the holiday period. As everyone knows, Tuggerah Lakes is a huge waterway and tens of thousands of people are up here during the holiday period fishing. Now, if they're allowed to do that without supervision by the fisheries, then it would destroy our local fishing industry here.
But in an apparent backdown by the Minister, Ian Causley has announced fisheries officers are to remain where they're stationed despite the cost. Mr McBride has welcomed the decision, saying it will have a wider effect on the Tuggerah Lake system.
We've got this lake being rebuilt at the moment in terms of the Tuggerah Lakes Restoration Program to try and regenerate the lake and its fish stock and also its total environment. And this is one component of that. I mean, if you spend $13 million doing that and then you take away the sheriff, the one who checks that one element of that is being supervised, well, what would happen? We would be wasting that money.
Central Coast fishermen are also relieved by the news and say the officers will continue to play a crucial role in protecting the area's marine resources. Jenny Crouch, NBN News.
Newcastle's Western Suburbs Hospital was founded more than 100 years ago by a benevolent society concerned for the healthcare of the poor. It later became one of the area's best-known maternity hospitals before being replaced 2 years ago by the John Hunter Hospital, and until today has continued to care for elderly women. They're now settling into the refurbished Walls End Hospital along with male patients from the Dudley Nursing Home. For some, the steps toward a new life weren't easy, with friendships and respect built over years evident between residents and staff.
17 years for me, and it's very, very sad. You know, I've seen a lot of ladies come in here and I've seen a lot of ladies go out. Got to know them, got to love them, and it's terribly, terribly sad.
Yes, I've been here 6 years and I've had my 3 children here, so it's really sort of a bit upsetting for me and to watch the ladies go. So.
Bye, girls. Bye, girls.
No, it's okay.
We've all stuck together. The strong have stayed on.
The original wing of the hospital is heritage listed, but future uses of the complex await decision by the Hunter Area Health Service. Andrew Lobb, NBN News.
If the wilderness proposal does go ahead, not only do you remove a very important recreational resource, but you also remove from the economy an extremely important renewable natural resource.
Environment Minister Chris Hartcher heard today how the proposal will affect those towns surrounding the Barrington Tops. Representatives from Scone, Gloucester and Dungog councils told of devastation if the plan goes ahead in its present form. What's been proposed is a wilderness area of 63,000 hectares. It includes most of the Barrington Tops National Park and 23,000 hectares of state forest land. Under the proposal, logging would be stopped and all forms of recreation apart from bushwalking prohibited. For Gloucester and Dungog, that would have a crushing effect.
It's going to affect our economy badly for two reasons. One, we rely on tourism to a significant extent, and this is going to close off large tracts of land. And secondly, and perhaps more importantly, our economy is based to a certain extent on the timber industry. We've got a number of mills that provide employment in the town. Those mills will inevitably close if this proposal goes ahead.
Minister Hartcher says that will be taken into consideration before any decision is made.
Having met the people who put these views and knowing how they feel about them, I have to take that into account.
Also presenting their case was the Gloucester Forest Protection Society, made up of logging contractors and timber industry workers. They and the Hunter Four-Wheel Drive Council have joined forces to protest against the plan. They say they realise the importance of protecting pristine wilderness, but they believe the plan as it stands is wrong. They want only part of the national park set aside and no forest land, an idea Mr Hartcher didn't rule out.
All options are on the table. There is the option of accepting the proposal, there is the option of rejecting the proposal, or there is the option of some compromise between those two positions, declaring some areas and not others.
The Barrington proposal is one of 18 nominations being considered by the Minister for Wilderness Declaration. It's not the largest area, but it is possibly the most significant. In all, 6,000 submissions have been received. They'll be compiled and presented to Cabinet, which will make a decision at the beginning of next year. Jodie McKay, NBN News.
Happy?
The Lower Hunter factory was virtually deserted this afternoon following news of the latest round of job cuts at the plant, the second in a year. 93 workers from the sewing factory were given a week's notice, leaving 50 employees in the section, reducing the total to-picked workforce to just over 100. Acting Mayor of Cessnock, Councillor Bill Parker, says the announcement will add to a chronic unemployment problem in the city.
And those people that are laid off are predominantly women, and they're of the semi-skilled and unskilled workforce. So where do they go? Where do they go? Up to the unemployment office, and they'll swell the percentage rate from here from 17 to something in excess of that, and that's completely unacceptable.
Depict management were unavailable for comment. However, the federal government's tariff policy has been cited as one reason for the cuts. The sacked workers meet tomorrow to discuss their retrenchment.
A recession of a different kind was on the agenda of the Newcastle Business Club when they met at the Novocastrian Motel. The lack of sexual satisfaction was the problem. Sex therapist Dr. Sandra Patot blamed it on the media.
Well, today I was talking about the modern holy grail, the search for sexual ecstasy, which is meant to reflect the current preoccupation with sex in our society and the fact that we all want to have the sort of fantastic sex lives that we see in the movies.
Dr Patot was the guest speaker, and not one of the 50 club members left their seats during the 1 hour speech. It seems they could all empathise with the subject, and a round of applause erupted after the speech. Club president Robert Fraser proved his shrewd business sense when he predicted the speaker would attract a crowd at a club meeting.
One of enthusiasm. I expected a full house today.
Dr Patot was a little taken aback at first when she was asked to speak at the lunch, but relished the chance to speak to business people about a problem she says affects nearly all of us.
Even business people are human, and finance must get boring eventually, so a bit of a break in routine was probably good, just something they wanted to do.
You can't miss the new breed highway patrol, it's the one with the message on top. The new cars have benefits for police and motorists with a variety of information available.
They range from random breath testing up to road closed, accident ahead, reduce your speed, buckle up. There are just a few of the signs we got put into the computer in the police car.
The new roof display is Australian-made, produced by a Central Coast company. It features brighter flashing lights, which have received a favourable public response.
It's quite more distinctive than the other roof bars we had, in that it stands out more at night, and people can see us more clearly now when we have motorists stop.
The upgrade has the highway patrol being re-equipped with 5-litre V8 VR model Commodores, capable of 200 kilometres an hour should it be needed.
When Jamie Boy tackles his younger sister Emma, he's like any other 3-year-old. He can be as loud and as playful, but he tires more easily than other children. Jamie has a chronic heart disorder called cardiomyopathy, and to live he needs a new heart and new lungs. But 86% of young sufferers die before they receive a transplant operation, and being so young, Jamie's chances aren't good.
Still going by the statistics and going by what you're told at St Vincent's by the transplant team, pretty much nil. That's what we've got to look forward to. That's why I'm out there trying to raise the level, trying to bring those odds up, because currently he really doesn't have much chance.
David Boy moved his family to Maryland in Newcastle 2 weeks ago. They were living in Canberra, but with Jamie's condition deteriorating, the necessary medical treatment just wasn't available.
We've uplifted ourselves from Canberra, where we had a home and we were settled in and the community was right behind us. We've moved ourselves to here because we believe John Hunter has the best paediatric care.
Who's this?
Me. You. David and his wife Kelly have embarked on a campaign to raise awareness about organ donation. This scrapbook is full of mementos of their time in Canberra and the support they received. They are determined to do the same in Newcastle and give their son a chance at life. Jodie McKay, NBN News.
Lunch in Australia's eastern parts is not an unfamiliar ritual for the Salvo's newly appointed Commissioner John Gowans. He's visiting some of the 25,000 Salvos he supervises throughout New South Wales, Queensland and Papua New Guinea.
Well, I'm supposed to supervise the work of the Salvation Army in Eastern Australia and Papua New Guinea, but supervise isn't really the right word. It's to encourage and to guide the work of the Salvation Army in this part of the world.
And in Australia, Commissioner Gowans believes sport holds the key to help keep our young people on the straight and narrow.
If we can get them really absorbed in sporting activities, which is a healthy thing physically and morally in every other way, we can prevent them falling into some of the traps that boredom and unemployment create for them.
The Commissioner's faith in young people was echoed by Albert Henderson, today recognised by the Salvos for a quarter of a century of fundraising help. Mr Henderson has been door-knocking since 1962 and says the Salvos are tops.
They're one of the greatest lot of people that I know to work for, and they appreciate what's been done for them.
These students from Berkeley Vale High on the Central Coast should have no trouble staying awake for the official announcement about who gets the Olympic Games in the year 2000. They'll leave the coast at 1 a.m. tonight, bound for Sydney's Homebush Sports Centre. There, thousands of other students who've contributed in some way to Sydney's Olympic bid will perform at an official ceremony before the big announcement is made.
We will share the spirit of the vote, the ballot. And if we win, well, a great celebration. If we lose, well, then we're looking at next time.
Every Olympic Committee member's vote counts. Berkeley Vale High hopes it's helped woo the vote of the Czechoslovakian delegate. He visited the school last year.
Explained to him what a great place Sydney is and what a great place the Central Coast is, and we gave him presents. We gave him a Ken Duncan local calendar, and he was delighted. He was really, really impressed by the kids. And
students rehearsed today, convinced they'll have enough energy to keep dancing through the night.
I think it'll be fun, and yeah, if we do win the Olympics, it'll be great.
$1.1 million has been spent on a more comfortable and colourful way of caring for sick children on the Central Coast. Health Minister Ron Phillips today officially opened the new children's ward at Gosford Hospital. He said the state government is committed to providing expanded health services on the coast, in line with the growing population.
Since we came to government in 1988, we have embarked on getting money into the growth areas like the Central Coast, and we've invested $70 million in capital in expanding the hospitals at Wyong and here at Gosford.
Humphrey B. Baird joined the party after the official opening. The minister and guests had an opportunity to look over the new ward and to meet some of the children who've already moved in. Not everyone, though, enjoyed the attention. The new ward is an improvement on the old. There's a play area for kids and accommodation for parents who want to stay overnight.
Great. Yeah, our own showers and place to go and sit and have a cuppa and make some toast and that if you miss a meal.
As to whether they liked it or not.
Yeah, and I like the orchestra best.
It was okay, yeah.
What's your favourite band?
Oh, Billy Ray Cyrus. Yeah, he's the best.
And it's better than Billy Ray Cyrus?
No.
The Newcastle-Sydney freeway narrows and the speed limit drops dramatically at the Ourimbah turnoff on the Central Coast. For several kilometres, traffic heading north from Sydney must slow down from 110 kilometres to 80 kilometres. On the other side of the road, motorists heading south have to reduce their speed by almost half, down to 60 kilometres an hour.
Well, obviously we need the missing link to be inserted.
Member for Wyong, Paul Crittenden, says the road design is dangerous.
The roundabout further up here, you can see that trucks have a very narrow turning circle to get around, and I've actually personally seen one truck lose its load there.
Paul Crittenden believes the 6-lane freeway should continue along this stretch of road. He says a separate exit should be built leading off the expressway to Ourimbah. Two youths wearing black balaclavas demanded money from the attendant at the mobile station on the corner of Turton and Young Streets at New Lambton just before 10 o'clock last night. They threatened the woman with a 30-centimetre knife, unlocked the till and escaped with the takings. Police searched the surrounding area for the two teenagers. The youth wielding the knife was of a thin build, wearing blue jeans and a red jumper. The other male was of a similar build.
Vintage cars nearly as old as the school were driven onto its grounds with some of its former students inside. They were welcomed by the present-day students as they sang the school song. A large cake baked for the occasion was then quickly consumed by the more than 200 people at the event. Jason Neuenhoff, NBN News.
Today's elimination rounds were contested by teams from Zone 1, the North Coast, and Newcastle, known as Zone 2. In the fours, Newcastle took an early lead thanks to some impressive lead-up work. The Cohiba-based team read each other's game well and often left the North Coast players with no option but to drive to try and break the combination. The singles was a true match-up of the sport's changing face. Newcastle's Jack Beattie against a young Keith Leffelt. Jack may be giving a few years away to his opponent, but he wasn't being generous with his shots. Today's winners will now play New England Zone 3 in the final elimination round tomorrow afternoon.
The reserve grade team gathered at Marathon Stadium 2 hours ago. You a bit nervous?
Nah, not yet. Tomorrow morning when I wake up and have breakfast, I'll start feeling the nerves.
There was time for last-minute autographs, a quick photo and, of course, good wishes from the crowd.
Oh, it's good. It just shows the support we got in the town. It's a one-team town and it's good to see everyone show up. And I'd say there'll be a heap more down there tomorrow.
Then it was time to stow their bags and pile on the bus.
What do you think your chances are?
Oh, well, we're going down there to win it and, you know, anything less, you know, it's a big disappointment.
But the fans don't think they'll be disappointed.
They'll bring it home.
They'll bring it home.
They'll bring it home, that's for sure, love.
The team left for Sydney under police escort, with all of Newcastle's hopes riding along with them.
He's right down here. Just.
That's it. Okay.
Spread your feet a bit.
No. Whoa.
Yeah.
Let's go. We're nearly at the bottom.
Well done.
Well done.
Well done.
Australian League and Newcastle Knights footballer Mark Sargent emerged from Christchurch Cathedral with bride 26-year-old Helen Johnson. After a brief pause for the photographers, the couple was wished well by the many guests.
I thought I'd be a lot more nervous than I was, but I wasn't too bad, and it's something I've been looking forward to for a while. Obviously, Helen and myself have been a lot of planning's gone into it, and everything turned out pretty well.
Among the wedding party, Chief Paul Harrigan and Coach David Waite. Sergeant Helen Johnson met while working in the club industry in Sydney 3 years ago.
Behind them, followed by Great Vintage. Naturalism on the outside has taken the lead. Here comes the Phantom Chance after Naturalism, but Naturalism's in front with 100 metres to go. The Phantom Chance is flowing. Naturalism on the inside. The Phantom Chance, they hit it. Oh, I think maybe the Phantom Chance.
7, 1 and 8. The Quinella $19. The trifecta $145.80.
Why don't you pick on some of your species, eh? I'll teach you!
Then set fire to your breakfast,
and then I'm going. Well, I will cook chocolate cake on every occasion, from birthdays to funerals. I will cook chocolate cake with baked beans, and chocolate cake with salad, and chocolate cake with triple extra icing, and double flake chocolate chips.
Greg, I just find them and make them on a lead by being. I'll use my ears and you. Stop! You have grown too bossy for this